Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're always told that for a story to matter, it must evolve, it must speak to today's world. But are we truly evolving or just replacing? While storytelling must adapt to reflect contemporary values, David Nichols' 2005 adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing risks erasing vital representations of traditional femininity. By morphing Hero into a Beatrice 2.0, the narrative abandons the quiet resilience, romantic optimism, and the moral clarity that Shakespeare originally captured. This exclusion undermines the lived experiences of modern women who still find empowerment in purity, forgiveness, and the pursuit of love through marriage. To remain truly relevant, storytelling must evolve inclusively and not selectively. Shakespeare gave us Hero, a woman who, despite being silenced and publicly shamed, chooses forgiveness and emotional sincerity. Hero speaks only 44 lines out of roughly 3,000. But her silence is intentional. She reflects the Elizabethan ideal, a woman defined by purity, modesty, and loyalty. She's treated as a commodity. Claudio calls her a jewel, and Don Pedro says she shall be thine. Metaphorical language that objectifies her, reducing her to property. Yet Shakespeare uses this limited voice on purpose. Hero's silence mirrors the patriarchal power structures of the time. When she's falsely accused of infidelity, she's publicly humiliated and called a rotten orange by Claudio and has no voice to defend herself. The tragedy is that she doesn't need many lines. Her suffering exposes the cruelty of a world where a woman's value lies entirely in male perception. But then Shakespeare gives her last move. Hero forgives Claudio, and in doing so, Shakespeare uses dramatic irony and repetition. And when I lived, I was your other wife, and when you loved, you were my other husband, to restore the harmony. It's subtle but powerful. It is not passivity, it is resilience. Her forgiveness becomes an act of moral clarity, not weakness. But when we look at David Nichols' 2005 BBC adaptation, Hero's story is not just altered, it's deleted. Billie Piper's hero, the character we get in her place, is a completely different woman. She's no longer pure, no longer forgiving, and no longer focused on marriage. She's a Beatrice 2.0, sarcastic, sexually experienced, and emotionally distant. In this retelling, Hero sleeps with Don John, portrayed as a loser rather than a villain. Instead of being wronged, she's blamed. Claude, our Claudio, believes the worst of her because of a text message and some vague gossip, and Hero doesn't fight back. This decision isn't empowering, it's degrading. She doesn't act from self respect, but from guilt. This reformation reduces Hero's emotional intelligence and replaces it with indecisiveness and regret. So Hero ends up single, not because she chooses independence, but because the writers decided that a woman who wants marriage is no longer realistic. And here's where I strongly disagree. There are still women today who value marriage, who choose modesty, and who believe in second chances. But the modern version of Much Ado tells them you're irrelevant, you're outdated, and you're not the kind of woman we write about anymore. In Act 4, Scene 1, Hero faints when shamed. This stage direction isn't cowardice, it's the physical embodiment of honor being crushed. Shakespeare uses metaphor and hyperbole to elevate her virtue. In the BBC version, while this feels empowering, it also erases a vital narrative choice, the power of grace and forgiveness. Forgiveness is a choice, yes. Hero's choice in Shakespeare shows emotional maturity. Removing that robs her of depth. It's swapping one model of womanhood for another, one deemed socially acceptable. In 2005 and today, to be pure or to desire marriage is seen as regressive. But this isn't inclusive storytelling, it's erasure. The BBC adaptation suggests that to be relevant, women must reject traditional roles. But that isn't equality, that's just replacing one ideal with another. Why can't modern storytelling include both Beatrices and heroes? Femininity isn't one size fits all concept. Hero's femininity is not outdated, it's simply different. But that doesn't make it any less valid or empowering. There's a cultural pattern here. Just like Frozen decided Elsa didn't need a love story, the 2005 Much Ado tells us hero doesn't either. Elsa doesn't end up with a man. Some celebrate that as a progress, but it also sets a new standard. Strong women must be alone. Isn't that another kind of pressure? In Shakespeare's ending, hero marries Claudio. It's fast, maybe too fast, but it's not played for drama, it's played for restoration. Love wins, honor is restored, and hero, once silent, becomes the agent of peace. In contrast, the 2005 adaptation denies this resolution. It swaps restoration for resentment. Hero doesn't get her chapel moment, she gets character assassination. We need both Beatrice and Hero. Beatrice challenges the patriarchy. Hero shows how love can transcend it. But in rewriting Hero into a Beatrice 2.0, the 2005 adaptation silences an entire group of women. Women who still believe in forgiveness, who dream of family, and who reject casual sex not out of shame but out of choice. We claim modern storytelling is inclusive, but if it excludes traditional femininity, how inclusive is it really? So, to answer the question, to what extent must storytelling adapt to remain relevant? I say to a significant extent. Yes, but not at the cost of authenticity, not by erasing voices that still exist today. Adaptation should add layers, not erase lives, because narratives don't just reflect values, they shape them. And I believe there's still room for Hero today just as much as there's room for Beatrice. Because if we can't make space for Hero in our modern stories, we're not evolving, we're just replacing one silence with another. Thank you.